let's jump into some questions about mystery and history. How did you meet mystery and become wingman in the first place?
Well, I'd already been gaming for, I guess, 9 years. And so I had my own company going on. And then I was also working as director and head coach for PUA training back in the day, which was the biggest in Europe and maybe the third biggest company in the world doing pickup. I think there was obviously mystery method at the time, or Venusian arts, whatever they were calling it at the time. And there was Real Social Dynamics, RSD. And then there was us. And obviously there was Speed Seduction, Ross Jeffries, which is he was a one-man band, I assume, at the time. That's how, when I met Ross, he was a, one-man band. And there was someone that I trained up years ago, Discovery. He came on my boot camp, and then he went on to train with Mysteries company, and then became a coach there. And they were like, "Can you put on loads of people from London?" I was also running. I had the second biggest club promotion company in London for VIP clubs, and I could get hold of big venues, so I took them to an Embassy club, which was a very, very cool, posh VIP club, and put on a book tour for him. So he would go there and do a talk for a couple of hours. And then loads of people turned up, maybe like 70 people. And at the end of that, it turned into a nightclub. So everyone could go gaming. And Mystery was very late coming in just because something happened on the way. He was with a girl, and I think there was he must have talked to you about this. He said on camera before. And he talked to a girl, and the cabbie accused him of something or other because the cabbie was being rude to the girl, and Mystery was sticking up for the girl. And so the Mystery accused him. The cabbie accused Mystery of something, and then they called the police, and the police took Mystery away for a little bit. Anyway, so he got out late, right, and turned up at the event just in time. Walked through the door. I don't think he knew I was putting on the event. Walked straight up to me because I had some girls around me and was like, "Hi, I'm Mystery." And I was like, "Hi, I'm Beckster." And that was how it went. And I said, "Right, let me show you to your stage." And he was like, "Okay, I'm ready to go." So he did that talk. And I was on the sideline watching. So, he kept looking over, realized I was definitely the organizer. And then we had dinner after, arranged in the Embassy Club, just for a few of us. So there was 12 of us. And then we were talking a lot of game. He realized I knew game. And then afterwards, we went to nightclub bit. I brought two girls over. We had a great time. We bounced off with the girls somewhere else. And after that, Misha was like, "I think we should do events together." And I was like, "Let's do it." So that's how it basically, in a very, very concise version, that's how it happened.
Nice. What was that thing he was accused of, or like what happened with the policeman?
Well, he didn't. The cabbie just made something up. I don't know. I think he said, "Oh, he took some money or something," which is impossible in a black cab. If anyone's ever been
Yeah.
in a English black cab, with the big light on the top, it's cordoned off with plastic. Like hardcore bulletproof plastic. I would say you can't get into it. So it was just something that the cabbie was upset with having an argument, and didn't like that Mystery outwitted him and and called the police. But he still made the event, so it was great.
Perfect. That's quite an alignment there. How did you originally get into game in the first place?
So back in the day, it was a lot more undercover, and a friend of mine, Blade, we all had handle names or avatar names because we were on forums. That's where we all met, I guess. But even before that, I could go on a forum. This was probably 1996. I was in Leicester Square, which is a central hub of London, where everyone's gaming, and we was upstairs in a bar called the Round Table, and my friends saw that I was, now and then going up, chatting to girls or saying stuff across the room in the bar. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I was trying to keep happy and jovial about it all. And he was like, I can see you're really interested in meeting women. And there was like four of us on the table. He goes, I've got a little secret I can tell you about. There's people that you can learn from. And what he had is a load of tapes of Ross Jeffries tapes that you have to rewind and fast forward and pause and so on. That you put in your Walkman and walk down the street listening to it. And also, Ross had his book out at the very first PUA book, I guess. I'm not sure if it is, but a very old book from the 1980s. And he was like, read this as well. This is amazing. So I was like, I love this. So I studied it a lot, and that also got me into NLP. So I'm an NLP practitioner as well. I used to teach that back in the day also, but I incorporate it into my game as well, which I think is quite important. When you need it, it's there. And so I studied it like gold, like as if it was the secrets to all the universe. But before that, Blade would take me out on the streets. So the first ever thing I ever did, even though I'm known as the night gamer,
when you
more than a day gamer.
When you say Blade, are you referring to Wesley Snipes, the vampire?
That's how old it was. That was in fashion at the time. That was in the cinema at the time.
It's still in fucking fashion. That was such a good fucking movie franchise that was. Yeah. I was a huge fucking fan of it.
Hey, he came back for, what was it?
The cameo?
Yeah, what was that movie?
I haven't seen the new one. If he's not the main fucking character, then I'm just not gonna refuse. I'm just gonna refuse to watch it. It's like
they will do.
Tobey Maguire is Spider-Man for me, and Wesley Snipes is Blade. You cannot tell me otherwise. It's just
I agree.
For me.
I agree. And so he was showing me how to do stuff in the street, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I found a way out. I found a way out of the Matrix. And I started doing a lot of Ross Jeffries stuff, but I'm more out at night than I am in the day. But I was both, And every waking hour, I try and practice something or other with somebody. And over time, I was like, well, I need something a bit different for the nightclubs because they're higher paced. The bars are higher paced. There's more people. There's groups, so group theory. And I slowly started developing my own style, which I call now supernatural game, or I've called for the last 20 years, supernatural game, which is like semi-direct, I call it. So it lives somewhere between the middle of direct and indirect. It's cheeky chappy, but we can get to that later. And then I remember saying to Blade, oh, I found a forum, the LSS, the London Seduction Society. Have you ever heard of it? The LSS. It doesn't exist anymore. It disappeared about 16 years ago. And it took with it was like being deplatformed. It took with it all my testimonials, all the things that were wrote about me. You'd get karma points, and I had the highest karma points because I'd go out and, 20 PUAs would be watching me game for free. This wasn't my job. I never thought I would do this as a job. People offered me jobs straight away. They were like, could you be head coach of this company? So the first ever company I joined was the Skool of Seduction. It was the first UK PUA school in the world, and probably like the second or third in Europe. And there was some cool people join that. Adam joined that to do the marketing and became one of the head coaches as well. And I did that for a couple of years, but they didn't make me a partner. So Gambler came along, Richard Laruna, and he offered me head coach and director job at PUA training. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. And I did that for many, many years. Loads of stars were born there as well. Matt Hussey was one of my students, and now he's probably the top, most famous female teaching coach out there. He's male, obviously, but he teaches women. There was Kezia. She was my assistant for a few years and Gambler's assistant. People would practice chatting her up, talking to her, and she would be like the B of the group, you know. And then she went on to do her own stuff, which was a bit of a rip-off, really, just a rip-off of people's stuff, so in my opinion, and many others. And then who else? There was loads of other stars in there. Steve Jabber. And these are people that it's like if someone had just wrote the game version of England or London, you would have so many more stars out there as we do now. But it wasn't recorded. So I'm writing a book and I'm going to go back in history and going to present that book to people so they know their history. Because without knowing your history, you're missing out on so much game and so many principles of game that will change your life. And I'm talking to coaches too, because there's so many coaches that have missed vast periods. Imagine you could go, it's like missing out knowing what famous philosophers have said. That's what it's like.
Oh my God, this is the metaphor I use. That is so perfect you said this, because like this is what I realized with the opportunities that I have with Game Global. Like we are effectively in the position to be the Vatican archives of the pickup artist industry. It's like if I do not preserve and collect the knowledge, that is like what the YouTube channel is based on, pretty much doing all these interviews, the 4-hour interview with Mystery and the many clips associated with that. We created like timelines, glossaries, all kinds of things. Like you're 100% right. That has kind of become part of my mission over time. So I'm fascinated by when this book will be.
We should swap notes.
Yeah, perfect.
I've got 27 years of history in my brain and in notes.
Oh, I am such a history guy, so I'm all for it. Let's fucking do it. What will the book be called? Do you have?
Well, I think just by learning by learning the history of pickup, you learn a very good level of pickup just by learning the history. You know what people said then. What were the principles then? People right at the beginning weren't out to really make loads of money in this. Everyone on the LSS was trying to help each other. So no one on there was advertising. No one. And so it was all pure gold. No one would write stuff just to make content. It would actually be gold. And that's how I live my teachings. I just want to give pure gold. I don't want to give the fluff. I don't want to give the crap. I don't want to say stuff just to look like I'm cool. You know, I don't want to say stuff to sell something. I'm going to tell you the gold, what works and how to do it and what the usual outcomes are from these things. Because that's how I'm programmed. I'm programmed old school, and there's no school like the old school.
The London scene. That's some good shit.
Well, yeah, and also learning. You know, like I did go back after 8 years. I said maybe I was like 5 years in. I said to Blade, I said, "Who's next to learn from?" And he was like, "A guy called Mystery." And I was like, that's amazing. So I started like checking out all Mystery stuff as well. And it was brilliant. And so I was like, I'm going to meet that guy one day and he's going to be my buddy. He's going to be my best pal. And then a couple of years later, it happened. So some good manifesting skills. And by that time, I was already speaking on Ross Jeffrey's stage as a special guest. And he never had men on his stage in them days.
Interesting.